I know Rosalinda's upstairs. I really want to go see her. But she might get upset. I'll just wait. At least it gives us time to talk about today's episode, where you will learn how to get involved with your children's education. We will also learn about prepositions. These are words that help you understand time, direction, or place. Like at 3 o'clock, I flew over the bridge, through the park, and down the street because I had an appointment with Rosalinda. But she's in her room getting ready. Anyway, let's find out what happened to Tony's son, Michael.
Hi, I'm Tony Park, Michael's father. Where is he? Is he okay?
Please calm down, Mr. Park. Your son is fine. He's right here.
Michael,
Hi, Dad.
are you okay?
I think so. Can we go home?
So what happened?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
Hi, I'm Norman Hill, Michael's teacher. You must be Michael's father.
Yes, I am. So what happened?
How can I say this nicely? Michael got into a fight.
A fight? Michael? But how?
Let me explain. This is Michael. And next to Michael is Joey. And in front of Michael is Lisa. And behind Michael is Brian. And they all make fun of Michael. And Michael got angry, and they fought.
But why were they making fun of you, Michael?
Michael is having trouble with his schoolwork. But I don't know why. Michael is a very bright kid. This is what we're trying to figure out.
What trouble? Michael, what's wrong?
I want to go home, Dad.
Yes, we're going home right now, so you can explain what happened. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Anytime.
Let's go.
So Michael is okay?
Yes, but he was in a fight.
Really?
Oh, he's not hurt. He was only bleeding from here.
Why is Michael getting into a fight with other children?
I don't know. And his teacher doesn't know either. That's what I want to figure out. But Michael isn't talking.
Hi, Ava.
Hi, Tipsuri.
My class got out early. I came by to say hello.
Tipsuri, have you met Tony?
No. Hi, Tony. My name is Tipsuri. I'm from Thailand.
Oh, Tipsuri. Nice name. Nice to meet you.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, too.
Tipsuri transferred last year from a school in San Francisco. She's in the advanced class.
Really? Maybe one day I'll be in advanced class.
Very soon, Tony.
So, how long have you been here, Tony?
3 years. And you?
5 years.
5 years. Your English is so good.
Thank you. So, you own a sandwich shop?
Yes. My father and my uncle opened it 5 years ago. It was their dream. But my father died 3 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that why you came to the United States?
Yes, I came to take my father's place and help my uncle.
So, do you like owning a shop?
Oh, I do. I'm sorry, do you need a ride home?
No, thank you. My sister will pick me up.
This is my number. Maybe we can have coffee sometime?
Sure.
Okay, how about tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Okay. Let me check my schedule at home, and I'll give you a call later. Okay?
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, hi, Michael.
Hi, Tony. There's a message from Michael's teacher on the refrigerator. He wants you to call him.
Okay.
Dad, can you help me with my homework? I don't understand it.
Sure, Michael. 코 어때?
Okay.
여보세요? Tony, just a minute. Tony, the phone.
Hello?
Hi, Tony. It's Tipsuri.
Tipsuri, hi. Bedtime? No, not at all.
I'd love to have coffee with you. How about tomorrow at 5 o'clock?
5 tomorrow. Perfect. Do you know the World Cafe on Main Street next to the bank?
Oh, I love that place.
Hold on one second.
I need help with my homework.
조금 있다가. Hello?
Hi, what was that?
Oh, it was nothing. That's great. Maybe one day I will meet your brothers. It must have been different growing up with two brothers who are musicians. They sound like fun guys.
Yes, they are. It's getting late. It was nice talking to you. So, coffee tomorrow?
Yes, we'll talk then. Bye-bye. That was Tipsuri.
Good.
왜 그래요?
What's wrong? Do you remember you promised Michael to help him?
Oh, yes, Michael. Michael!
He's asleep now. Listen, Tony. I don't want to tell you how to raise your son, but you must make more time for him.
What? I am a good father.
Good father? He's asked you many times to help him with his schoolwork.
That's the school's job.
No, it's also yours. And you'd rather talk to someone you just met than call Michael's teacher?
맞았어요. It's too late to call him now. I'll call him in the morning. Yes, my name is Tony Park. I would like to talk to Mr. Hill.
Ah, yes, Mr. Park. Mr. Hill wants to know if you can come today and see him. He's available between 3 and 4.
Between 3 and 4. Then I will be there at 3. Oh, can you hold on for 1 second?
Yes.
Hello?
Hi, Tony. It's Tipsuri.
Oh, hi.
I'm really sorry, but my plans changed. I'm wondering if we can have coffee a little earlier. I'm free between 3 and 4.
Between 3 and 4?
Is that okay?
And freeze! Hey! Why did you freeze it? You're back. Is Rosalinda ready?
She wants me to tell you that she's almost ready. But first, she needs to find out what Tony decides to do.
Okay. But first, we need to do today's lesson.
Okay, I'll help. Prepositions are words that help us understand time, place, and direction. Watch. Listen.
This is Michael.
And next to Michael is Joey. And in front of Michael is Lisa. And behind Michael is Brian.
I'll call him in the morning.
That was very easy, yes? Now let's see what Tony decides. And
Can I do it?
okay.
And
Action.
action.
Can you hold on 1 second?
Sure.
Yes, is Mr. Hill available tomorrow?
Not tomorrow. Not until next week.
Then I will call back next week.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. 3 o'clock will be great.
Okay, I'll see you then.
Thank you. I am so glad you called.
I hope you weren't too busy.
No, not really. I had to see my son's teacher today, but I can reschedule that.
Son, are you married?
No. Maria and I divorced 4 years ago.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So, you were supposed to see your son's teacher?
Yes. My son is having problems at school.
And you'd rather have coffee with me than talk to your son's teacher?
Of course.
I can't believe you think coffee is more important than your son's education.
No, it's no big thing. I can see him anytime.
Anytime. The most important thing in your life is your son. He comes first. I'm sorry. I have to go.
You don't have to worry about me in school. I'm never going to school again.
Michael!
Ouch. Looks like Tony made a bad decision.
Can we give him another chance?
Sure.
Thanks, wizard. You're great.
Please tell that to your sister.
Maybe I will. And action.
I'm sorry. I can't have coffee with you today.
Oh, that's okay.
I need to meet with my son's teacher.
You're married?
No. Maria and I divorced 4 years ago. Maybe we can do it another time. This meeting is very important.
A responsible father. I like that. Of course we can reschedule. How about tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Bye.
Okay, bye. I am so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I'll be there at 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Mr. Park, I believe I know why Michael is having problems.
Why?
Michael needs Glasses.
Glasses?
Yes, that's why he was fighting with his friends. Michael couldn't read the blackboard, so he was reading his friend's work.
He was cheating?
I wouldn't say that. Michael doesn't cheat. Once he gets his glasses, he'll be okay. But I must ask you, Mr. Park, didn't you notice him having problems at home?
I have to admit, I haven't been paying enough attention to my son. But I know nothing like this will happen again.
I think Mr. Park needs another reason to sell his shop.
Another visit, boss?
Oh, yes. We're going to help him clean his shop.
Oh, no. What do you think Conrad is going to do? You'll have to watch the next episode to find out. See you next time.
What? Don't you want to review what we learned today?
Yes, I almost forgot. We learned to use prepositions like on, in, at, and in front of. We also learned it is important for parents to be part of their children's education.
Yes, we did. I think you're going to make a great parent.
Thank you.
I need to ask you a few more questions.
More questions? All right. Well, see you next time on English for All.
Question number 1. How do you turn a prince into a toad?
Welcome and thank you for being here. I want to thank you all for being here because you are your child's first teacher, and so this is very important that you know that you're here and that you're that as a teacher, I just want to let you know that everything you do at home is very beneficial. It does come into the classroom with your child, so I just wanted to thank you for being here. Just a little background on myself. I was a classroom teacher for the last 13 years. Not too far from here, actually. I taught at Sac City Unified, and I mainly taught in a primary classroom. And then last year, I came on over here to Elk Grove as a family engagement resource teacher. I'm also a mom of 2 daughters. I have a 21-year-old, and then I have a little one that's 4. So it's a huge age gap. But a lot of these strategies, I will mention to you that I actually do use these with my little one. With my older one, I was very young. I didn't really, realize the importance of reading at the time. Although I did read to her, I just didn't really make that connection until I started going to school and taking these the classes, to become a teacher. And so then I realized, like, okay, these are all important things. And so now with my little one, I do still struggle with some things, as I'm sure you also do. So I'm here to help you with, to maybe provide some strategies to help, okay? So this is our agenda for today. We'll start off with a little icebreaker just to get to know each other a little bit more. We'll talk about the essential standard, which today will be all about reading aloud to your child. Then we'll do a modeling of what that looks like. You'll get to practice with each other, and then we will establish a goal, and then just a summary at the end of what we talked about and what to expect for the next class. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. So for our icebreaker today, we can probably just do this out loud since we're a small group. If you can just share your name, the name of your child, your children, and then what you would like to learn today. Okay. So I will start. I kind of already told you what my name, Nancy Lopez. I have my 2 daughters. And something I would like to learn today is I would like to know about you. Since this is my first time here, I really would like to get to know the families here. So, okay, so like I said, our first for our first session today, we're going to talk about reading aloud. And then I just want to let you know that I do have it in Spanish on the bottom. So what is read aloud? So like when the teacher says, oh, we're going to do a read aloud today, what does that mean?
Read out loud. They have to read out the words.
Reading out loud the words, yeah.
Hear themselves, and I think it helps more. I do it a lot, and my husband gets, he laughs at me. He's like, you're like a little kid. Like, why are you reading out loud?
Yes, it does. Good, yeah. Anyone else? Reading aloud, what does that mean to you?
They can have a better visual, maybe too.
When they hear you, yeah.
Themselves read, they could probably see what they're. I guess it helps
Yes, yeah, it does.
She was saying that they can hear it.
Yeah, they can hear it. Yeah, it's when they can hear the reading. Yeah. So yeah, all those were right. A read aloud is an instructional practice that we use, and it's when an adult or a caregiver or someone is reading out loud to a child. Okay. And then I'm going to talk about why that's important. So some of the reasons why that is very important. Now, I also want to just say it's the difference is when we're reading to them versus the child. Yes, we want the child to read, and I heard you all saying that you want strategies on how to help your child be a better reader. But this is more on an adult or someone that's more fluent with the reading. Okay, so this is why it's important. So it builds vocabulary. A lot of the books that we read to our children, it's vocabulary that's a little bit more academic. Maybe we don't use those words every day, and it's a way to expose them to those words, okay? And then like you were saying, even as an adult, we also, learn these new words. So even myself, I do come across some words where I'm like, oh, we don't use that word too often. Let's start using those words. Understanding too, especially with problem-solving books. A lot of our narratives have a lot of problem and solution, and so then children have a better understanding on how to solve problems or what happens with informative books too. They have a better understanding of those topics. Imagination, just like what you were saying, it builds their imagination. So the more we read to them, the more stories they have. They start building imagination. And this is really, really big for later on when they become writers. They have a lot more to write about. They start to make connections with those stories that we are reading to them, and then they can transfer that into a writing piece. Okay? Memories. This is a really big one. It builds memories for them. So when they become adults, hopefully they will remember that when they were little, we read to them, and then they can also pass that on to their children. And then this last one, for me, I feel like it's the most important one, is that the love for reading. I will share with you that my parents didn't read to me too often, but I do remember my mom always taking me to the library, and I would always see her reading. She would always read magazines and books, and so every week she would take us to the library, we would grab books. And so with my oldest one, I would do the same thing, and then with my little one too, I'm busy, but I try and make it to where I go every 2 weeks to grab as many books as I can, and then we always have a certain time, which again I'll share with you later on how we do that. So these are just some of the ways that why it's important to read to our children. Okay, so for today, I am going to model what a read aloud looks like. I'm going to share with you a couple strategies that you may already be doing at home. Or some that you may, say, oh, okay, that's totally doable. I can do that at home. The book that I'm going to share with you today is Too Many Tamales. It's written by Gary Soto. And another thing, too, that I'm going to share with you about the book is that when I first came across this book, I was in college. I was actually taking a children's literature course. And we needed to research a children's author. And so then I was looking through different authors and books, and I came across this book. And the first thing that I noticed was the picture, the front cover. And I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, that's me. I don't know, and every time I look at it, I always think like, oh my gosh, that's me. I can totally see myself in this picture with my cousins during Christmas time making tamales. So I just want you to keep in mind that some of these, when we're reading books to children, a lot of times they may or may not, see themselves in the books. So it's really important that when they do see themselves in the books to, pick that book up and share it with them, because then they get more into the book and they're a little more motivated with the reading, okay? So I will practice a read aloud, just a few pages. I won't do too many. And this is where I will ask someone to help me. So I will be the parent or the teacher, and then I just need someone to be the student. Okay, so before I start, let's, if we can maybe just read through the strategies. I'll go ahead and do the first one. So the first one says, snuggle up close with a book. Okay, so that could be in your living room, at bedtime. The second one, can someone maybe help me with the second one, reading the second?
Create reading rituals and read together every day.
Thank you, yeah. So having a routine, okay? The third one?
Be interactive, discuss what's happening in the picture, point out things on the pages, use different voices and reading.
Good, thank you. How about the next one?
Encourage involvement, invite child to turn the page or hold the book.
Yeah, especially for the little ones that are very active and want to touch. Okay, and then I can go ahead and read the last one. Ask questions as you read. What do you think will happen next? How does that make you feel? Why do you think that? Okay, so those are just a few questions that you can ask during the reading, okay? So if I can have my child volunteer. Yeah, you can, if you can just sit right here, and then I'll sit here. Okay, so while I'm doing the modeling here, just kind of keep in mind those little strategies that we went over, and we'll talk about it after, okay? Okay. Are you ready for bedtime? No! Well, you know what? I have a really, really good book here. This is one of my favorite books when I was younger. You want to read it? Sure. Yeah? Okay, so the title of the story is Too Many Tamales, and it's written by Gary Soto. Gary is the author. Do you know what Gary did? No?
You wrote it?
No, it's okay. You can, if you don't know, it's fine. Yeah, Gary wrote the words. You know how when you write your name on your paper, you're the author. Okay. Yeah, and then Ed Martinez. Ed is the illustrator. Do you know what the illustrator does? He draws the pictures. He or she draws pictures of the story.
He's good at drawing.
Yes, he is. But so are you. You're a good illustrator. Hey, what do you think is going on here?
They all want to eat tamales.
Yeah, and look at their faces. Look at her face. What do you think?
A lot of tamales.
Yes. Is that what they're saying? Yeah. That's good. I like that. Do you want to know what happened? Sure. Okay, let's turn. Do you want to turn the page? Too many tamales. And it's written by Gary Soto and illustrated by Ed Martinez. Oh, wow, look at that.
That's a big house.
Yes, and what else is happening there?
Snowing?
It's snowing, yeah. Do we have snow here? No. Not really, huh? We have to go up to the stairs where it's snowing there. Hey, and then look in here. Look at the windows. What do you see?
The girl.
She's like, look at the window. Yeah, Christmas trees. Oh, so then it must be Christmas time, huh?
Little circle on the door.
Yes, the wreath. Yes, that's a wreath. I'm going to go ahead and start reading. Ready? Snow drifted through the streets, and now that it was dusk, Christmas trees glittered in the windows. I wonder who she's looking out for.
Maybe she's looking at the snow.
Maybe. Maybe she's looking out for Santa.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. You ready? Oh, wow, look at that. What do you think they're doing?
They're making the tamales.
How do you know? How do you know they're making tamales?
Because I see that in the kitchen.
You do? We have that, don't we? Yes. Good job. I like how you observe. You're a good observer. Yes. We have the masa that we make sometimes tortillas or tamales. Yeah. And then look at their faces.
They look happy.
They do.
Because they're about to eat some tamales.
Yes. Maria moved her nose off the glass and came back to the counter. She was acting grown up now, helping her mother make tamales. Their hands were sticky with masa. That's very good, her mother said. Maria happily kneaded the masa. She felt grown up wearing her mother's apron. Her mom had even let her wear red lipstick and perfume. If only I can wear mom's ring, she thought to herself. Why does she want to wear mom's ring?
Because she thinks it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's a nice ring.
It is, yeah. She has it right there, look. You think she's going to get to wear it?
Yeah. If she let her wear her apron, maybe she'll.
And what else does she have?
Lipstick.
And what else?
And her perfume.
Perfume. Oh my goodness! Look at her.
She's trying to get it.
What do you think she's going to do? What do you think Maria's thinking?
She's gonna say, "Should I get the ring? Should I put it on?"
If you saw my ring, would you take it?
No, I would ask first.
Okay, good. I'm glad you would. Okay, let's see what happens. Maria's mother had placed her diamond ring on the kitchen counter. Maria loved that ring. She loved how it sparkled like their Christmas tree lights. When her mother left the kitchen to answer the telephone, Maria couldn't help herself. She wiped her hands on the apron and looked back at the door.
She's in trouble.
Oh my goodness. I hope she doesn't take the ring.
I think she will.
Oh my goodness. I hope she puts it back right away. What do you think?
Me too. If she doesn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. Or lose it.
Yeah, or lose it.
I'll wear the ring for just a minute, she said to herself. The ring sparkled on her thumb. Oh my gosh. Look at her face.
She's so happy.
She's so happy, I know. How do you know she's happy?
So she's smiling?
She's smiling. Mm-hmm. You want to turn the page? I wonder what happened to the ring.
I don't know. It probably went into the masa.
Maria returned to kneading the masa, her hands pumping up and down. On the thumb, the ring disappeared. Uh-oh, she still has it on. Then reappeared in the sticky glob of dough. Her mother returned and took the bowl from her. Go get your father for this part, she said. Then the three of them began to spread masa on the corn husks. Maria's father helped by plopping a spoonful of meat in the center and folding the husk. He then placed them in a large pot on the stove. They made 24 tamales. How many?
24.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot. As the windows grew white with delicious smelling curls of steam. You want to turn the page to see what happens? Oh. What do you see here?
They're going up the stairs.
Who do you think those are?
It's Maria and her sisters and brother.
Probably the family, huh? Yeah. You think they're coming over for dinner?
Yeah.
What are they going to eat?
Tamales.
Are you thinking something? Are you wondering about something?
I'm just wondering what they're going to do. Her face looks kind of sneaky.
It does, huh? Well, you know what? It's past her bedtime. So we'll have to finish tomorrow. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Let's clap for her. Thank you so much. Okay. So, kind of, looking or thinking on how some of the things that I modeled, what did you see?
You ask her to turn the page.
Yeah, I asked her to turn the pages.
You ask questions?
Lots of questions. Yeah, what kind of questions?
So she can use her imagination.
Yeah. Did I just start reading right away? No. What did I always ask when I turned a page?
Point this to pictures, like see what is happening.
Yeah. That's really important because then that's when they really start to think and start asking questions on like, oh, well, maybe this or maybe that. And I also want to point out that even if it's not really what happens, it's okay. I mentioned something about, oh, maybe he's looking for Santa. Like, it might have been that. And so then when you're reading, then you can just say, oh, so that's what really happened, okay? Anything else that you saw?
You use different voices?
Yes, different voices. So at home with my daughter, I do a lot of the changing the voices, and that's really important because you want children to hear the different expressions and then the dialogue, whenever there's dialogue, to change her voice. So her dad, when he reads to her, and when he first started reading to her, he would just kind of read straight through. And then we would all read together, and he would hear me, and he would say the same thing. Well, now I can hear him, and he'll change his voices too. So it will happen. So yeah, that's really important for them to hear the expression. Okay. It also keeps them engaged. They want to, know what's going to happen next. So the more engaging you make it, the more they will also be into it. Anything else that you saw that you thought like, oh, okay, that makes more sense, or?
Well, they were also participating. They were reading to them, asking questions and pointing things out, so they were participating.
Yeah.
They weren't just listening to me read.
So yeah, it's not just listening to me read, it's actually participating. Okay. You don't need to finish a book that night. They may want to, no, read the story. I know in my classroom I would purposely do that. I would stop because I wanted them to come back the next day and to remind me, Ms. Lopez, can you read that book that you didn't finish yesterday? So it keeps them, again, engaged. It's that wanting to find out what happens next, okay?
So when I read to my daughter, and I saw you doing that, I go with every word with my fingers.
Tracking,
she
yes.
can hear it, and she can see it. So now she knows, some of the words like I or can.
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, tracking with your finger. Yes, yeah. Even for little ones, it's really important that you do that because in preschool, they need to know how to hold a book. They need to know how to turn a page. They need to know how to go from left to right. So that's very, very important that you do that. Pointing out, high frequency words throughout the story. So like on the title page, if you say, oh, is there a high frequency word on here that you recognize? Well, yeah, this is a high frequency word. Or with little ones, what letter does tamales start with? Or what sound does the T say? You can do those kinds of things too with the little ones. The other thing too is if you, on the first day you are reading the book, you don't have to read the story. Just go through the pictures. It's called the picture walk is what we call it. Okay? So just, what do you think is going on here? Okay, well, what about this page? And you can even get to the very, very end and say, okay, tomorrow we're going to read and find out what really happens in the book, okay? So those are some of the things that you can do with that. So I know you want to find out what happened to the ring, right? Okay, because everyone always tells me, well, what happened? So I have the books for you. But what I want you to do is you can start from the beginning or you can start where I left off. And I want you to practice with someone, some of those things that I was doing. Maybe just asking questions or maybe just asking, well, what do you think is happening here, okay? I also, another thing too that I was gonna tell you is, a couple other things is, I brought this book in Spanish. It's not in Spanish or in English, it's just either in English or in Spanish. So if you want the Spanish book, I can give you that to you. And I also wanna let you know that it's okay to read books in your primary language. Okay? Reading is reading in any language. So if you're reading in your primary language, they're still picking up those same strategies, asking questions, talking about what's going on. That's building vocabulary. When they, if they are English learners, they will eventually pick up the English and then be able to transfer those skills in English as well. So don't be, you know, how do I say this? Don't feel that, you know, well, if I read to them in Spanish, they're going to get confused. They're not. They will eventually pick up those strategies, okay? So I'll go ahead and pass the books around. If you want a Spanish book, let me know, and I can give you the Spanish book, okay? Any questions? I'll give you a few minutes just to practice that, and then we'll come back, and then I'll ask you how that went, okay?
So we have too many tamales.
Okay, so tell me some of the things. I was listening to lots of questions, and I really enjoyed listening back and forth what you were sharing every time you turned the page. So if you can just share, how did that go with you? How did it work out? How, or new things that you tried, something new?
With my son, I tried to make him laugh, and I make some stories about that. What, like you said, it doesn't go to the story, but that's making him laugh. And
yeah, good. Yeah, even if it doesn't go to this, I mean, if it's not part of the words, you know, but if you're talking about the pictures, I know that you started having a conversation about what kind of tamales you liked, and you said, oh, well, I prefer the sweet ones with the pineapple. So that's great. I mean, if you're having those conversations with your children, you know, or in your family when you're reading a story and everyone's participating, that's great. I know most of you are first graders, so maybe this doesn't pertain to the first graders, but for the little kids, they'll want to read the same book over and over and over and over.
I get to read like 10.
Yeah, that too. So my little one, for like months, all she wanted to read was Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. So we would, and you know, research shows that it's okay, you know, that it's a good thing to read to them the same book over and over. But one of the things that I would do is I would get a basket. I get a basket of books, and I just rotate them. And then also I would let her pick a book, which is part of, you know, them feeling engaged. Is I say, okay, you pick one book and I pick one book. And then that way, you know, she's going to pick the same one, but then I'm going to pick a different one, and then we just compromise and say, okay, well, you picked your book and I picked mine. So eventually I ended up just taking that one and rotating it around. I mean, we still have it, but yeah, but it's okay. I know for us it might be a little like, oh my gosh, the same one. But you can also just, like I said, change the words and say, you know, today we're not going to read it. Today we're just going to make up our own story. Okay, and then do whatever works for you as far as the daily, you know, having a daily routine. It might be right after school that works best for you, or it might be at bedtime. For me at my house, it's at bedtime. So she knows that when it's time, you know, for her bath and brush teeth, like she knows, oh, what story are you going to read to me today? So like she automatically knows. But do what works best for you. And then also the more you involve in your family to do this, the better. I mean, like I said earlier, it creates memories for your children. So if everyone is at home right after dinner, you know, then that's when you might want to do the reading. And remember, like I said, read to your child in your primary language at home. They're not going to get confused. I taught dual language for the last 8 years. So I taught in kindergarten how to read, write, and speak in Spanish. And it wasn't just to Spanish speakers, it was also to English-only students and children that were learning Spanish as a third language. And it always, every single year, I would be amazed on how fast the children that did not speak Spanish picked it up so fast. So they're not going to get confused. They will not. They will eventually transfer those skills over. Okay, so if at home you speak Spanish, read to them in Spanish, it's okay. So before we go, I'm going to do just a couple little things. I got to do before we go, I also wanted to ask you, so how many times a week, I mean, I know most of you already do this. How many times a week can you do this at home? Reading, yeah, just reading a book. Yeah. Every day?
Every day.
Yeah, every day. One thing, too, that I wanted to say, you don't have to read for 30 minutes. 5 minutes is good.
I usually do it just for 15.
I know, yeah. Especially for the little ones, even like little like him. They're not going to sit, and it's okay. When mine was that little, I would just close the bedroom door, and I would just read, and she would be, you know, crawling around. Eventually, like now, yeah, we just get in the bed and she sits. I mean, she would have me reading for an hour if she could. But yeah, they can just, you know, be in the room and you just read. And then how will you know that your child is, you know, participating and enjoying this? And
They're asking questions.
they're asking questions. Yeah, good.
Yeah, they're following along too.
They're following along. They're asking for the story. Yeah. So those are all good. Okay. So so you'll be focusing on reading aloud for the next week. When we come back next week, we'll talk about letters and sounds. And then I'll also ask you like how this worked out at home with you. Okay, and then while you're finishing up that, again, I wanted to just, again, thank you for being here. It really, really means a lot as in my teacher perspective, I guess, that you're here and that you're helping your child. It really does help out when they're in class, even with just simple, you know, asking them questions on the books and things like that. So thank you again, and I hope to see you next week.